that Dad told me a long time ago, and I finally put it pen to paper. Northern Indiana, when he was 11 years old, the biggest tree on their farm was hit by lightning, and that began a whole chain of events that led to where we are today. The song is called 13 Years. Lightning strike back in 47, hit a walnut tree in Indiana, in the middle of the field in the old home farm. 13 years before I was born, but my dad was there, he was just a boy. Felt the thunder roll and the hell of a noise. First the crack, then the creaking groan. There's different ways for seeds to be sown. 13 years before I was born. He was in the barn all of 11 in the year of 47. It was 5 more years till he'd get that car, that old Model T that never went far. Well, the tree went down by the near sheep pen. It tore the fence that the ewes were in. So Dad walked out with a saw and a wire and the mud and the rain and his pocket plier. His pa said, "Boy, what'd you do today?" And my dad said, "Pa, I got caught in the rain, but the cows are fed. Got the eggs together and that big tree fell and there's the wood together." Took him days to clear the limbs. He knew that job was all up to him. It was after school, he'd split and stack. He didn't know then he'd get something back. Well, he got her down to one mighty log. At that point, he had to make a call. He dialed Bill Scarlett at the Auburn Mill. Said, "I got a log, can you help me, Bill?" And they cut that log into many board feet, and Dad shoveled sawdust for about a week to pay the bill, and the job was done 13 years before I was born. The boards were stacked and stored in the barn until the year they sold the family farm, and Dad counted the rings, 124. When it comes to me, I can just remember an old stack of boards all dark and weathered, how they lay behind an old parked car, that old Model T that never went far. We pumped the tires and they held air. We pulled the T out and the boards were there. We washed the car and we brushed the boards. Cut 13 years before I was born. Dad said, "Let's move these boards one more time. They're staying here in this new shed of mine." I said, "Dad, can you spare me 2? I did not tell him what I was going to do. Yeah, that big tree fell on my grandpa's farm, and Dad saved the boards for what seemed so long, 13 years before I was born. I drove those boards to a man named Bear near the Ohio River, south of here, and I told him the story about 13 years. He shook my hand and said, "I'll give you my best. I'll build a guitar that's not like the rest. Just look at that grain. You can hear the tone from these walnut boards so dark and long. We'll make a way to sing your dad this song. 13 years, it's really not so long." Did you ever stop and wonder at the sound of distant rolling thunder? Thank you.
This is the guitar made from that tree.
60 years those logs stayed in the barn, and I kept looking at them thinking we need to do something with those logs. And finally 2 years ago I asked Dad for two boards, and I took them down, as I said in the song, to a man named Clint Bear, and the back and the sides and the headstock and all are made from Grandpa's wood. And then the next year Jackson graduated from college a year ago, and his guitar is also made out of that same wood.
And we think Connor's going to get a bass made out of one of the boards.
And what are you going to get?
And I'm going to get a harmonica. How about it? I might get a harmonica case, I'm hoping. We'll see. This next song is